Hello YouTube, this is Snow from Rogue Cannon. I'm here with a 1v1 between TheLittleOne and MouzHasu on Desert Oasis. Now, we've got Protoss Yellow, Red Zerg, and this game was quite high rated on SC2 Replayed. I'm not sure if it's been cast a lot, and I apologize if it has. Um, Originally, I didn't intend to do this one. I intended to do a longer game, but it was just like 40 minutes into it, I just realized that nothing was happening and it was just too long, too drawn out. And recording in HD, it really wrecks my hard drive. Recording a 40-50 minute game, it was like 80 gigs or something like that. It was just ridiculous. And it's not that I don't want to cast a long game, it was just not worth it. So, cutting to the chase, I've got an interesting 1v1 here. I also had a dual commentary planned today, but that'll have to wait until a little bit later when Clue or Kill Switch comes online. Now both players are cutting right to the chase here, getting their scouting out, which is obviously standard. And if you keep in mind, there's a Scantipede here in the middle of the map. Now keep an eye on him. He's going to play a huge role in the game later on. Now this is a pretty standard Protoss build here. He's going to try and block himself in just a little bit, just to prevent any ridiculous Zerg harassment. Meanwhile, the Zerg player going with a 12 pool, I believe. I might have missed that. I believe it was 12, though. Now, both players here are fairly up there on the list of players who are good. The little one's been receiving a lot of fame and fortune lately. Everybody's casting him. Everybody's talking about his replays. And, you know, I'm interested to start casting some videos of him myself, but there's also OGS games have really gotten my attention lately. I think a lot of the players from that, despite being called some of the best players, I really think they are. So I really want to take a look at some of their games. And the Scantipede is still just standing there. I'm not sure. You know, they kept creeps in this game from Starcraft 1, but in Starcraft 1 you didn't really notice them. At least I didn't. Both players are getting gas, although MouzHasu's gone with double gas, which leads me to believe he's going with either tech or stalkers. Obviously you need a tech to get stalkers, but I'm interested just to see exactly what he goes with, knowing that he's playing against a good Zerg player. Little group of Zerglings here attacking the scouting probe. It's always fun to watch, but if you'll notice, the little one's gone with a very early expansion. If you take a look at their income tabs, they're both almost identical with a couple more probes on the Protoss side. So as for tech, Warp Gate's coming, which is pretty standard. The Zealot is blocking that off, as I assumed. And a sentry's on its way to help defend this ramp should any Zerglings come in. Now this early hatchery here is going to be pretty useful against Protoss. Protoss are very slow and macro-y players usually, and you want to try and keep ahead of them as much as you can. Apologize for any frame drop I'm getting. I'm not really sure why. I think that might be my hard drive. I can't figure out why it would be dropping. The game's running at like 60 frames for me here, but the recording just sometimes hits a low. So taking a look at their production here, we are going to see some tech. We're seeing 2 more gateways and a forge, I assume, for a photon cannon. As for the Zerg player, still working on the hatchery here with the double queen and still only 1 gas. So we're getting some, I believe that's Zergling speed. And a single Zergling is going to come up here and kill all of these Zealots. So the Zerg player just trying to get some map control, send a couple Zerglings around, basically just to see if he can catch the Protoss player doing anything. Protoss players are very slow usually. A lot of their stuff takes a while, although they can build everywhere. Not everywhere, sorry. Although they can expand and build photon cannons and do all that crazy stuff. So He's going to lose that. That sucks. But the little one seems to be a very prominent player. I don't know if he always plays Zerg. I haven't checked that out. But he seems to just be very solid. Now, as for all these Zerglings, I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. But we're getting underway with some combat here, so that's very good. Now, I apologize if my broadcasting or commentating is a little bit rusty. Zergling speed's going to come just in time to help take out this stuff. Yeah, I apologize if the commentary is a little bit rusty. I haven't commentated on a game since Brood War, and even then I only commentated maybe 15 or 20 or so. So things are going to take a little while for me to get back to speed. Hopefully when we start doing dual commentaries, it'll be a little bit more interesting. So the Protoss player seems to be doing what a lot of Protoss players do, which is always be building pylons as your force is moving ahead so you can easily reinforce. That's one of the most powerful things that Protoss has, is the ability to just reinforce on the field. You know, the pylon to warp gate thing is just very, very powerful. It's really one of the only ways that Protoss can win. But the little one knows that this is going on, so he's not going to let that happen. He's going to try and push the stuff back. Seems to be going for 2 pylons there just to be safe. Now, one of the weaknesses of Zerg that's always been a weakness for Zerg is their ability for their supply to be killed. You can easily supply block a Zerg player if you harass these. I've noticed a lot of Terran players go with Viking harassment to do that. Now, this was a fairly interesting fight. The Zerglings are made short work of by these Zealots here. Now, I didn't catch what those force fields were for. Perhaps he was expecting a counterattack from behind or didn't want the pylons to be able to be hit. But now he can be reinforced here, which is, again, a very powerful technique. Trying to get a look at what the Zerg player is going for here, which just seems to be mass Zerglings at the moment. Now, he's going to lose this expansion, which is going to hurt him quite a bit. Maybe that's why the video is so short. At this point, it doesn't look like there's too much the Zerg is capable of doing. Minus kill this backup stuff here. But the Protoss player doesn't seem too bothered by that, as he knows that he's got a aggressive advantage here. Okay, and the little one is going all in with all these drones here. And there's the force field. Cutting off an entire army, basically, from hurting him. That's also an extremely, extremely powerful technique utilized by the Protoss. As long as this, it pretty much seals the deal when people are in your base killing all yourself, and then you can't even come to defend it. The ironic thing about this conflict here is that the Protoss player will be able to reinforce himself better than the Zerg player. That was a very smart warp in by the Protoss player, able to keep these guys out of harm. As for production, they're both just building harvesters at the moment. And it looks like expansion's going down for the Protoss player. The little one is going to be very hurt on income coming up soon, given that his expansion was gone. Now the hatchery is coming back up, and there's another conflict here in the middle. He might try and go in for some harassment, but on these... It's going to be very difficult for him to do too much with the photon cannon coming up and all of these Zealots. Meanwhile, this force might not be enough to... it should be enough to push in there with. But if he really wants to do something hurtful, he'll go take out this hatchery. So that attack on the Nexus was unsuccessful. Meanwhile, this hatchery looks like it's going to take a beating. The little one looks like he's slowly running out of options here. Yeah, there's a GG. So that was a very short game, actually. It really all fell on this push here that destroyed this hatchery. At that point, there wasn't really too much the Zerg player could do. He tried his best to reinforce this with spine crawlers, but the ability for the Protoss to be able to warp in reinforcements like that is just, it's just so powerful, especially when you're trying to defend a base and things are coming in just as fast as you're killing them. But thanks for watching this video. This one will probably be uploaded, unlike my last one, which, like I said, was just too long and drawn out. So expect more commentaries in the future. This one went fairly well, I think. But that was the first video I've actually watched where the little one lost, I think. So that's pretty interesting. But thanks for watching. Check out for more commentaries and podcasts from Rogue Cannon in the future. If you haven't checked out our podcast already, you can go ahead and do that. Our second episode has been delayed until, I think, tomorrow because one of the members was away without a replacement. So thanks for watching again, and have a good night, YouTube.